Kuzampo and welcome to Queer Talks. I'm your host Namgizam. Queer Talks is brought to you by the Canada Embassy in Bhutan. I have with me, actually she needs no introduction for most of you, current Miss Universe Bhutan, the reigning Miss Universe Bhutan, Tashi Choden Chombal. This is my second interview with you. How's the pressure sitting with you? Fact that you're a public figure for the queer community and also the first Miss Universe Bhutan?
It's going, I think I'm handling it pretty well now, but initially when the whole thing started, the pressure was real. I was like, oh my God, where did I put myself, where did I end up now? Because the fact that I am an openly queer person gives that like unwanted kind of spotlight. It's good, but I can talk on a lot of issues when you're in the spotlight and when you're a public figure. But I feel just the fact that I am being me helps a lot with the advocacy I'm taking along with me. And then, but then it's very it's like a separate kind of responsibility being the first Miss Universe Bhutan. So that's it's like I'm carrying the whole country with me, and then it's like we already discussed a few days back. It's you have to be a certain way, and then people are like, oh, you have to be a role model kind of thing. And I was like, I never asked to be a role model. Firstly, I'm just being me, and then if people can look up to me in that way, then yeah. But then I don't really accept the fact that I would want to be a role model, because like I said, no one is perfect. So I make mistakes as well. I just want to be an inspiration, so that
by being yourself.
Yeah, just being myself. I just want to be an inspiration rather than a role model. So yeah, I think I'm handling it pretty good for now.
So how do you deal with the criticism then? Like you're saying, I mean, there are these expectations that people have of you, right? So when you don't meet their expectations, then how do you deal with that kind of backlash?
I think it's a known fact that I am one of the most controversial Miss Bhutan that's been crowned. Firstly, because of the fact that I'm gay, and then secondly, because I'm the only one I think who have half of our body inked. Yeah. So I think I was one of the most controversial winners. But yeah, criticism comes whether you don't do anything or if you do anything. So I've always had people criticizing me for the way I am, for the way I act, behave in general. But then I can't, change myself or morph myself into what people expect from me, because I won in the first place because of the way I am. So I don't think criticism really bothered me. But yeah, I had a ton of backlash on social media. People were like, oh, if the Miss Universe Bhutan, she's gay, what kind of example is that set on our kids? And I'm like, I grew up in a very heterosexual kind of environment my whole life, and I turned out, and I'm not heterosexual. I'm like a full-grown homosexual. So I'm like, I don't think I can influence your kids to be gay. It's born.
But what stops you from being angry publicly then?
I think no, I do get angry. I wanna cuss at them sometimes.
Right.
But then yeah, I think I have other ways that I take it out. I go ranting to my friends. I'm like, this girl, this guy, a person who doesn't even have a profile picture. He or they said something like this about me, and then I rant to them. So I think that's one way I went out. Yeah.
But looking at your personal trajectory, your life, you've, I think, been more emotionally resilient than a lot of people that I know. I mean, you've experienced loss at a very young age, both your parents. How did you deal with that loss? How did you cope with that loss? Has it defined you as a person in some way?
I think it has helped me grow into the woman I am right now, because I was a very angry kid. I was a very angry teenager. I acted out a lot. So I wouldn't say I had that. I had that a very healthy way that I dealt the whole trauma or experience with. I did go down the wrong path a lot of times, but I had friends, I had very supportive mentors who brought me back on track. And I've never talked about that. I was I don't know. I think I was the black sheep in the family. I liked causing trouble. I made my parents, let my family worry. But at the same time, I think those experiences were necessary for me to know my worth at the end. So now I'm like, I believe I have matured a lot. Those experiences help me understand other people as well. Because until and unless I don't put myself in their shoe, I won't be able to connect with someone.
Empathy, right?
Yeah, I won't have that empathy. And then, so when people come up to me, like especially closeted members from the community, I understand where they're coming from because I've been there as well. So in a way, I felt like those experiences were very necessary for me. And then dealing with my parents' laws, it took quite a toll on me because I had to go through depression after losing my mother. I had anxiety attacks, I had panic attacks. So in a way, it did make me stronger emotionally. And I think that's why I can take a lot of criticism as well. I can take a lot, and it takes quite a lot to break me down now. So like little things doesn't really bother me anymore.
So these are, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, not everybody has this kind of coping mechanism, and then I'm glad that you're at a better place. And I mean, you're saying you want to be an inspiration, and you are an inspiration already to people, you don't have to try something else to be an inspiration. But something I take issue with and I want to talk to you about, because you're not just reigning Miss Bhutan, but you are an actor and you're a model, right? And for me, it's my pet peeve that people only look at you in a certain way, and they want to cast you as this item girl, vixen in movies. How do you feel about that?
I haven't given it much thought before.
Now you keep thinking about it. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna rethink all the roles I've been casted for. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because I think, like I said, I think the whole movie you debut with has a part in it as well. Because my first movie was Singay, and then I was in the more negative role. I was in the more negative cast. So I think that paved the whole line of casting of being the villain, being the the not very innocent kind of role.
Right.
But then I feel like how people portray me, how they see me, it's quite upsetting at times, because I'm a very sweet girl, okay?
Yes, you are.
I'm very sweet.
This is why after meeting you and knowing it, I'm just like, why are people doing this to Chombal? Cast her in a different role, right?
I think how I look has a part as well, because I've had all of my friends who, when we initially met, they're like, oh, you're so sweet. You have a really sweet voice. I thought you would have a very bold, very husky voice.
Right.
And then you look very mean. You have that RBF. I'm like, that's not the first time I'm hearing it. So I think how I look has something to do with it as well. But as long as it pays the bill, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, no issues.
As long as the check keeps coming out, I'm good.
No hang-ups. Another thing we want to talk about is how I think you're such a cute couple with Nima, right? What is your relationship like? How does it work? What is the relationship like? See?
I tell this to her as well. This is, I think, the first non-toxic, very healthy relationship I'm in, because we help each other grow as a person. We do want to grow as a couple. We do see, having kids, adopting kids, building a home together. But at the same time, I always tell her I don't want to be her first priority. I want her life. I want her career. I want her to work individually, like both of us. I want us to grow as two individual people. But then, that in the end will make us a strong couple. So I think we have a very healthy, very non-toxic, a relationship where we help each other grow. We are very polar opposites. She's an introvert and I'm in extreme extrovert. And then that sometimes we do quarrel about. I'm like, let's go out, I want to go out, I want to have fun. And she's like, no babe, my social battery is down. I'm like, is that a thing?
That sounds like me. It is a thing.
Is it a thing? I didn't know there was a thing called social battery. And so she has taught me a lot of things, and then it's we learn out of each other's experiences. So yeah, I think it's going good for now.
You know, I wanted to talk to you because you're saying when you talk about growth, growing with her, your individual trajectories, etc. I want to go back to Chombal as a little girl. You know, what do you think you would become when you thought about the future? I mean, I'm sure you gave thought to the future self, right? Like, what were you thinking about then?
I never thought I would be in the whole entertainment industry. I always, like, you know how when you're in a new school, they ask you to introduce yourself, what are your dreams, what are your ambitions. I was like, oh, I want to be a teacher. And then, like, I love kids, so I wanted to be an elementary teacher. But then I never thought I would end up doing all these villain roles, or, you know, like posing for photos, having interviews, being a public figure. I've never had that dream for myself. So I think in that way I had, like, I achieved fame at a very young age. So I think that had a lot to do with how I handle myself now. So yeah, initially I wanted to be a teacher though.
I mean, you still have the chance. Are you going to consider it?
I would love that, because you know, I have a lot of experiences now. So, you know, like sharing those experiences with kids and then helping them grow, you know, like nurturing them. That would be something I would love to do.
It's so wonderful to hear. And finally, Chombal, I wanted to ask you, because, you know, even with my relationship, I mean, as an ally with the community, you know, I always assumed that now, because of social media and internet connectivity, like, people know what it is to identify as an LGBTIQ person, right? And then I travel and then I meet students, right? And it's so, I mean, they wait for a chance to talk to me after I've done my presentations, and they want to pull me aside and they want to talk to me. And I remember this one girl, she actually cried in front of me, and she was like, I don't know if I will ever find love in my life, you know, because of who I am. And she was in love with her best friend, and her best friend knows she's gay, but, like, a best friend is a cis woman, right, and straight, like, and cannot reciprocate. So what would you say to people like her?
Interestingly, that's how I had my gay awakening as well. I was in love with my best friend who was, like, cis. So it was very, like, it was a very traumatic experience for me, you know, like falling in love with my best friend, not wanting to lose that, you know, best friend kind of relationship, but then wanting to pursue something with her. So, like, that was a very traumatic experience for me. It still is. And but then we're really good friends now. We still talk about it. It's something we love about. It's like, as long as you're you, as long as you don't change yourself for anyone, I think coming out is something that you do for yourself, not for, like, anyone. And I would just want them to be themselves, you know, have that acceptance, because no one is going to be like, oh, I accept you. No one will be like that. You have to do that for yourself, you know, you have to pull yourself together sometimes, because you can't expect, or you can't depend on anyone. At the end of the day, you're going to bed with you. You're not doing it. Like, no one is going to do that for you. No one's going to be like, okay, you can deal with it. You need to be strong. No one will come up to you and say that. And I had the same experience a few days back. Yeah, I was taking my puppy to the vet. I was taking my cat to the vet. And then there was this one Ajim, she came up to me and she was like, Chitas Chombal Lemon. I was like, yeah, Ajim, yes la. And she was like, I'm so proud of what you're doing for the community. And then what sparked that, you know, like, that delightness in me was, she was like, oh, my then niece, now nephew. I was like, huh? I was confused for a while. She was like, my then niece, now nephew came out to us because of you and your couple. I was like, should I start crying now? Because just the fact that our relationship is helping, you know, like, troubled teenagers.
Normalize what they're feeling,
so we're normalizing it for them. And that also without us, you know, coming out to someone and being like, oh yeah, we need equality.
Yeah, you're not doing it in...
Just the fact that we are being us. Is helping a lot of teenagers come out of their shell. That's like, I think that's one of the biggest achievement I've made. And as long as what I do with my personal life, and I show it on social media without any shame. I'm like, this is me. I'm proud of being. I'm proud of the person I am. So just the fact that I'm being me helps a lot of people. I think that is a huge achievement for me, and then that's like it's very heartwarming as well. Hearing these stories of, you know, teenagers being accepting themselves. So that's like a huge achievement for me.
You talked about, okay, one last thing I want to ask you. You talked about how you see a future together with Nima, building a future together. That means you plan to get married.
I do want to, as long as, but then we need to work on that. We need to work on legalizing same-sex marriage, not the relationship, because we've always been here, we've always been there without, and then so like, I think this will anger a lot of people. But then I feel like legalizing same-sex relationship didn't really have it wasn't like a wow kind of thing for me, because we were always there. We were always, but then the only fact was we were blending in, and then now I see a lot of people being like, okay, I'm here to stay, we are here to stay. So I think the next big step would be legalizing same-sex marriage. Then if that happens, yeah, I do plan on marrying my girlfriend, but then if that's not going to happen, I'm going to leave the country and go somewhere where same-sex marriage is legalized. I'm going to get married. I'm going to settle there.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's the last thing.
Okay, so one way of stopping Bhutanese from leaving Bhutan is to legalize same-sex marriage.
There's a lot of couples. I've seen a lot of my friends do that as well.
Yes.
They exchange partners and they fake marriage and then they go outside of the country just to have that life, just to live freely.
Right.
And as if we legalize same-sex
that
marriage,
legal status, right? No, I am for it. I've been urging two of my friends behind the camera to do it forever, but they haven't done it. So I'm hoping that it's you and Nima who does it. You have my full support.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chombal, and good luck at Miss Universe. We'll be watching and rooting for you. And we have a gift for you. You may share it with Nima or not share it. So this is from Queer Voices of Bhutan.
I'll have her come for the next season, and I'll you get your own bag. You're getting mine. Thank you.
Thanks again, Chombal.
It's like a cute package. Thank you.